Okay, just to take a step further from the different animation types you've looked at and how you've used graphics and movie clips and buttons in Flash. With a button, when we talk about animation, that's a behavior animation as well because it's reactive. Behavior animations are animations that occur as a result of either the user interrupting or doing something, interfacing with the product, or another object or physics engines affecting it. So if you've seen in 3D games, there's animations that the animators can't predict because they're behavioral animations, they're programmed. We don't know when certain things are going to run. Now, what I've done here is a really basic interactivity in Flash, because your first practical assessment task is all about creating an interactive choose your own adventure storybook. However, you can't do it in PowerPoint because PowerPoint will give you that basic interaction. A website's okay, I guess, but Flash gives you all the control over the animations. So just to give you an idea, here is my project. When I hover over, as you know, we can create this effect with a button. But when I click the button, it plays something. So it actually causes an effect within the program. Now you could say it's like a hyperlink or a link in a website, very similar, I guess. However, it's a little more difficult than that. So this is what you need to understand how it works. First off, you'll see that this is a button. So up there, it's telling me that's the symbol type. I've got here a movie clip, which I call a screen, and this will be new to some of you, and this is at my actions. Now, actions is where we start coding Flash, and it uses what's a code called ActionScript 3. So when I right-click on my keyframe there, you'll get this menu where, how we could do our motion tweens, create symbols and things like that, but you'll also get actions. And I open up my actions. These actions are specific for this scene. So what I've got here is what's called a function. This function is what I want the button to do. I want the button to play back. The type of function it is a mouse event. The mouse event, as we'll discover later, is a click. Really important you listen. Now, there are other parameters you can put in here, but we don't need to worry about that at the moment. What I want to do when this function is activated is have my movie clip go to and play a certain place in the timeline. And it's the play. I've made it called it play. Could have called it something else. Could have called it slide 1, slide 2, or scene 1, scene 5. Doesn't matter what it is. But that's what it's going to do. I then tell Flash that I've got a button as my event listener. Now, an event listener is an object that's, if you want, sort of metaphorically listening out for an event to occur. That's why they call it an event listener. So I'm adding this event listener called butter button, which is my butterfly button. When that event listener has a mouse click, it does this function, which is the playback function back here. So that's the coding you need to understand. Now, I'll upload this on Edmodo, this basic template for you. You don't need to remember how to code these sorts of things, but you need to know what to look for in the basic structures. So that's the first point. I have all that action script in there. We need to actually name or label our instances. That's what they call these. So I've got an instance of this button, and up here in my properties, I need to give it the same name that was in the code. So it's good to copy and paste across and you won't get issues. So remember I had butter button as my add event listener. So that's what I called it. Now when the code runs, it knows that this is the object I'm talking about. On the screen, you can see I've typed screen mov. And again, when I go to and play my screen mov, it knows that this is what I'm talking about. Now one of the things it said was go to and play a certain section of the screen mov. So if I double click in here, you'll see inside the movie clip. So remember, we can have a timeline inside a timeline. So inside my movie clip, I have a background, which is just this white screen. I have nothing on layer 4. Maybe I should call that animation. Then I have a layer called labels. When you click on these, you can label a keyframe. So what this is doing is it's setting a position for me. You can actually call up a frame if you want. So you could say frame 1, frame 2, etc. But it's better to label them because then it doesn't matter where you place it in your timeline. And you can see that's the play. So going back again quickly to that action script. Screen mov, go to and stop on play. Now it says go to and stop because I don't want it to skip the frame afterwards because there's nothing there. But because it's a movie clip, it plays automatically anyway. So I don't have to worry about the go to and play idea in this case. So I'll go back in there again and you can see here, got play. Up the top here, I've got some action script. These are important. When movie clips first presented on the stage, what happens with movie clips? Yeah, they all automatically run, don't they? I don't want that to happen. I want to control it. So you actually have to put a tiny bit of action script to stop it. And that's the stop action script. So when that movie clip goes onto the stage, it just waits at that frame until told to go to the next frame, which is the one that has the animation. So when I go to that next frame, you can see here, I've got another movie clip. I go inside that movie clip and there's my tween or my animation. So you can have a whole animated sequence sitting in a single frame if you want.
Inception.
Sort of, yeah. Well, what will we call it? Movie clip inception. Yes. Now you can have a movie clip within a movie clip within a movie clip within a movie clip. But you've got to remember that you've got to start controlling these things. Otherwise, you might have one part of it stay still while another one's just flapping away. It's really important you think about it. So what you need to do is get your head around how you go about setting this up. Now if I make a new one, just quickly, these are the first steps that I'll do. First off, you've got a button layer. Now of course you can copy and paste buttons across, or you can just do a custom button. I might do that quickly just so you can see how quick it is to make a button. So I've got this rectangle options there. You can do those really sort of classic style buttons. Not that I want you to do this, but it's good for an experiment. We can go to get some shading on it. I'll go for that one there. Oops, missed it. And if you haven't seen it before, you can change the gradient direction. So if we're thinking that light's coming from the top of the button, give it a bit of a 3D look. We can control what direction it's coming in. It sort of looks like a button now. So I'm just doing this quickly. Right click, convert to symbol. What are we making? Oh, a graphic, are we? Yes, I know you're being sarcastic, but some people, we've got to be careful. We're making a button. All right? No problem at this point. It's good that I didn't turn it into a graphic because I'll show you a quick trick you can do here. If I double click on my button, go to the over, insert a keyframe there, go back to here, I can do an automatic sort of hover over effect very quickly by just changing its color. Okay, so I've got my button layer. Next is, I call it the screen. You can call it whatever you like. You might call it slide layers or something like that. Now, the screen layer actually has to go underneath the button. The screen layer is a movie clip. So I'll put that in. There it is. Select it, right click, convert it to a movie clip. Give it a good name, so you know, because you might end up with lots of them. We'll say main screen or something. Just to give it a good name to find it in our library. And what's the other layer I had? Actions, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, the animation was in the inside the movie clip. Yeah. Okay. So if you want a simple task, what I'd suggest you do is inside your movie clip, what do we need here? First off, just so we get the layers, and then I'll tell you what you can do as a basic task. So we'll go background. Labels. And finally,
animate, movie clip thing.
Not quite. Don't worry about the animations just yet. So I've got my background, my labels, and my actions. I'll make a new keyframe here. And just so we know we've changed scenes, let's change the background color. Okay? So maybe you're doing a color picker. So what would I call this label if we're doing a color picker? What color do I have here? Black, thank you. It's good you know your colors. Okay, so I go to the next keyframe where it's green and just type green. So I'm giving them meaningful names. What do I need to do up here? Actions, yes, because if I don't, this is what's going to happen. Epileptic fit, anyone? No? Yeah, all right, good. Okay, or you just started dancing. That was pretty good. All right, so we do need to control it, and that's why you can see the stops are in there. Go to actions, stop, open bracket, close bracket, semicolon. Okay, and I'm just going to copy it and do the same thing here. That's a horrible color. But now, when I go to play my movie, yep, I've got my button that goes green, ironically, but or appropriately. Nothing's happening when I click because I haven't put in my action script. And this is where I'm going to help you out. If you open up my project, which I'll upload straight to Edmodo, you can go right-click, actions, grab all of this, go to this one, right-click and actions, paste it in. However, we've got to do some changes, don't we? What did I call the label that I want to go to? Green, wasn't it? Yeah. And have I named my button or movie clip?
No.
No, so I need to name them. I could name them these. There's no problem doing that. So this back here, to name or identify an object on the screen, see how it's got instance name whenever I click on an object? So I've got the button there, instance name, screen, instance name. So I think it was screen mov. And this won't really be appropriate, but a button. Test it, click, and it changed to green. Now what I want you to do is see if you can create 3 buttons with 3 possibilities. That means you've got to make another event listener and another button, or an event listener for every button, and a function for every button. So you've got to code it yourself and add your new parts to it. So there's your basic interactivity in Flash.